Hey everybody, my name is Justice with AnswerWithConfidence.com, where we teach you how to answer life's toughest questions. Today we are tackling one of the most common questions you hear from skeptics, atheists, Buddhists, and all of the above. And that is, prove to me God exists. People say this all the time, and for good reason. I mean, that seems like a very logical question. If you prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that God exists, why would I not believe? If I'm in the middle of the interstate and you prove to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that a car is coming towards me, why would I not get out of the way? Now, this question can seem like it has a very simple answer, but unfortunately, it does not have a simple answer. And that's because the person asking the question doesn't really know what they're asking. So this video is being split into two parts. This is going to be part one, and it's going to be the truth. And by that, I mean the truth about what they are asking and how to show them that they really don't know what they are asking. Now, part two is going to be called the facts. And in part two, we'll be giving you ways you can prove the existence of God to someone who asks you. So if you want to know how to answer, you definitely need to watch both of them. So in this episode, we're going to be jumping right into the truth. I'm just going to get this out of the way at the very beginning, and some of you guys might feel a little weird with me saying this, but it is absolutely impossible to prove God exists in the way that they're asking. Is it possible to give firm evidence for the existence of God? Absolutely. But the way they are asking you to prove God isn't possible. If it were possible, everyone that you talk to would believe. And because of that reason, many atheists will say, see, you can't prove God exists, so why should I believe? But what they really mean is that you can't provide some sort of philosophical argument of the existence of God that will convince all thinking people. Because again, if you could, then by definition, every single person I talk to would believe in God after talking to me. Because if you really think about it, it's actually impossible to provide an argument about anything on this earth that will compel everyone you talk to believe it. So since I can't provide a philosophical argument that will convince all thinking people, does that mean I haven't proven God's existence? Not at all. After talking to them, if they don't believe what my argument is, that doesn't mean I can't prove God's existence. It means that I've done everything I can to convince them, but they choose not to believe the truth. So like I said, right off the bat, the question they are asking is completely flawed by nature. Just because they don't believe you when you tell them why God exists does not mean that he doesn't exist. It means after you present evidence, they choose not to believe it. But what they hate even more is your answer to this question. Why? Because you use the one word that skeptics hate, and that is the word faith. Having faith in something. See, the problem with the word faith is that whenever you use that word, in their mind, you throw all logic, all rational understanding out the window. But that isn't true. Why? Because you have to have faith to believe absolutely anything. And the reason I point this out is because I've had many people talk to me and say, prove to me God exists, but don't use the word faith. Okay, I can do that, but even if I do that, it's going to require faith from you to even believe what I'm saying. So let me tell you why that is and exactly how you should respond to this question. I say, do you believe George Washington was the first president of the United States? Yes. Okay, why? Well, because it's in the history books and I was taught that in school. Okay, and you truly believe that these books are correct? Yes. Why are those school books correct? I mean, were you there? Were you there when the books were written? How do you know the teachers weren't lying to you? Well, this history has been confirmed by historians, they have eyewitness accounts, we have written documents, and all that stuff is fantastic. But you weren't there, and all of this is accepted on faith in the fact that someone wasn't lying. No, it's not faith, it's facts. Yes, they are facts that you were told were facts by someone else who was not even there themselves. It's evidence that you accept by faith. And we're just talking about a historical figure that everyone knows. We're not even talking about God. I mean, there are actually people in this world today that genuinely don't believe George Washington was the first president of the United States, and it's all a conspiracy, man. And that doesn't mean that the facts aren't clear enough or that the facts are wrong, but they choose not to believe it. So listen, it's really hard to wrap your mind around it, but every single thing that we don't witness with our own eyes is accepted by faith because we were not there. Absolutely everything. And again, a lot of skeptics don't like to think this way, but it's true. So for someone to ask you to prove to them that someone exists that doesn't require faith to believe is a fallacy in itself. And to prove to them that God exists requires faith to believe it and accept it, just like everything else in this world. But of course, that doesn't mean that you don't provide actual evidence for God's existence, which is exactly what we'll be doing in the next video. So if you ever get this question, number 1, explain to them that you do have evidence for God's existence. Number 2, show them that it's impossible to prove anything the way they are asking. It's entirely up to them whether they believe it or not, regardless of how good your presentation or what proof you can give them. Number 3, if they ask you to prove it without using faith, explain why that is impossible and why it takes faith to believe in absolutely anything. And then number 4, give them the evidence for God's existence and let the Lord do the rest. Remember, if they walk away not believing in the one true God, it does not mean that you did something wrong or didn't prove his existence properly. The person you're talking to just chooses not to believe it. So I hope this video has really helped you guys out. I will see you in the next video where we talk about the facts that you can use to prove the existence of God.